Welcome back to College Football Addiction. Our video today with Drake C. Toll of Locked On Big 12 presented by BetUS. Let's talk a little bit about Coach Prime and some Colorado drama. We all know, Drake, about the rumors of the Raiders that got squashed and then the Cowboys, where at one point, I haven't checked today, he was the betting favorite to be the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I will say in the last week, some of that has quieted some. It's not necessarily front page news anymore. But something interesting that came out was a little bit of a money dispute, a little bit of an argument with the athletic department, the athletic director there, and Coach Prime looking for more money for NIL, more money for assistants, his staff. What's impressive to me about that is Coach Prime's not asking for a raise. He's not asking for more money for himself. The rumors are that he wants to basically turn Colorado into a better team, a better program, a more legitimate contender for the whole thing. Do you buy the rumors that the AD is maybe strong-arming there a little bit?
I am very surprised that anybody associated with the athletic department at Colorado who's ahead of Deion Sanders, a la the athletic director or even the Board of Regents or the University president, would balk at an idea or request that Deion has. Jane Slater of Slater NFL reported, one thing to watch following Jerry Jones' initial discussions with Deion. Two people with knowledge of the situation tell me that Sanders approached Rick George, the AD at Colorado, about additional money for NIL and staff, met with resistance. Colorado would not confirm or deny. Sanders did not respond when we reached out to for a comment. If this is true, what the AD is saying is, hey, Deion, you brought in, per the Coloradoan, $113 million. Home games bring in $113 million in an economic boost to the city of Boulder. That is a stunning number. That's not just helping. I can't imagine at that point what the university's numbers look like. The admissions numbers look like 51% jump in Colorado multimedia revenue because of Deion Sanders. Whatever they're paying them, they are making hand over fist more than that based on what he's bringing in. One Reddit study said that Colorado Deion Sanders, he may be worth $280 million when it comes to what he brings to those schools. This is what's called the Prime effect. And if he wanted to tomorrow, sorry to Colorado fans, he could bring it to Auburn. He could bring it to Florida. He could bring it to the Dallas Cowboys. What I would do is say, look, I get it. You know, I'm the athletic director at Colorado. Oh, I'm high and mighty. I'm in Boulder. I will bend over backwards for the guy who has completely changed athletics at my university, who is paying my bills, who is keeping the lights on in our city. I'm not going to say no when that guy's request is not give me a gold-plated office. It's give me more for NIL so I can continue to grow this program and win games. Give me more to keep my assistants happy. Not rework my contract and pay me. No. He's looking out for his guys, and it is idiocy, stupidity at the top if you don't say yes based on what this guy, you're saying no to your lottery ticket. And that's a really weird thing to be saying no to.
Yeah, it's so shocking to even hear that, which I'm sure Slater does a good job. Like, I'm not doubting the report, but man, that is an insane thing to hear because of what you just mentioned. Not just for the program, not just for the college, but for the entire region, the entire city
No doubt.
that has seen that boom. And so I hope that's not true. If we lose Coach Prime from the Big 12, from college football, from the sport that we all love the most, and he goes to the NFL because of this, that would be the greatest catastrophe. It would probably cost him his job. Like, it would probably cost the AD his job. There's no way that you could withstand that, losing Coach Prime because you got into a strong-arming battle. I didn't really buy the Coach Prime to NFL stuff, even with him being the favorite and you know, the Cowboys' job and the relationship with Jones and all this stuff. Does this make you a little bit more leery of him sticking around? Do you think that there might be a greater chance that he leaves because of this? I will get right back to chatting with Drake, but first, do me a favor and give some love to our friends over at BetUS. We appreciate them for riding with us this year. Make sure that you're betting with them if you are betting on the NFL playoffs or any other sporting events. Use our code YouTube150 for a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit, 125% on your next two, all of that up to $2,000. We appreciate BetUS for their support.
There's definitely a better chance in any of these scenarios, even if it's minor, there's a better chance that he leaves because of a dispute of this nature. And think about it from your own perspective. If you tomorrow have this big new bright idea that you bring to your company's headquarters and say, hey, let's up it. Let's plus our product by doing this. Next thing you know, that company starts bringing in $100 million more because of your idea. And granted, you've already got a pretty good salary, but you start thinking, I don't need my salary to change, but the guy in the cubicle next to me does just as good work. I want him to get his. Go to your big bosses and say, hey, I had this big new idea. Could you help out my friends around me? Maybe give them a bit more compensation? And they say no. At that point, maybe you don't leave the company. Maybe Deion doesn't leave Colorado, but it's not helping your company rapport. It's not helping how much you enjoy being in that seat. And so take it from the perspective of putting yourself in Deion's shoes. This can't be a reaction from the athletic director that Deion is happy about. And again, we haven't seen this guy. It's really, really dark. The last time Boulder was put on the map in this way was an infamous murder in the 90s. Like, this is the one time that Colorado has gotten a huge boost to the city of Boulder because something positive has happened. You could argue a national championship that came to the Buffs 30 years ago was also another thing to hang your hat on, but most people didn't really know Boulder, and it hasn't been associated with athletic excellence at all in the last 15 years until Deion Sanders got there. So again, the guy that walked into the company day one and proved I can be the catalyst to making us a whole lot of money. He's not the big boss. He still has checks and balances, powers ahead of him. But at the same time, if you're one of those powers, understand that the second that employee leaves, there's no NDA here. Your entire palace falls apart.
I've got a take, and I want to see if you agree with it or not. But my thoughts, and I was asked this, why wasn't Coach Prime's name mentioned with other college football jobs this year? Why is it all NFL? Why not the idea of moving up to the SEC or the Big 10? And what I told somebody was, this is the first year since 2019 that the SEC has all 16 coaches returning. There was no SEC job. How many Big 10 jobs are going to be open after the national championship, after this season is completed? Not many that I think Coach Prime would want. And so now North Carolina was open. They obviously went pretty big splash with Belichick. But even in the ACC, where Florida State was really bad, not open. SMU surprised, so obviously that's not going to open. Clemson, they're not moving on from Dabo. Mario at Miami. Did it surprise you still, though, that even with all those jobs not opening, that nobody really talks about Coach Prime in college football?
It didn't surprise me for the exact reason that you're mentioning here, TJ. North Carolina is maybe the only one that stands out. I don't think Deion would go somewhere else in the Big 12 from Colorado. He'd probably stay put with the Buffs. So West Virginia and UCF get taken out of the hat there. Washington State, Wake Forest, Purdue. I mean, none of that pushes the needle the way that you wouldn't want to restart at a place like that. And again, he has got the entire state of Colorado behind him. If you go to Purdue, if you go to Wake Forest, you're going to states that already have established Division I programs. Colorado, you get to be the flagship of that entire area. I mean, Colorado State would say different, but it's just not true. They are the kings of that state. And not only that, you've got pro teams that you get to rub elbows with. So we already know that there are built-in fan bases, large fan bases in these states. Again, the only one I could have seen was North Carolina, but the fact that they hit the ground running immediately and called Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick answered the phone and then eventually took the job was probably the reason we didn't hear at least a murmur of Deion Sanders' name being in that hat. And the only reason his name would have been in that hat is not for Chapel Hill. It's not for the basketball prowess or the football pedigree. It's for the Jordan brand. Deion mixed with the Jordan brand could have done a lot of stuff, but it's still not worth leaving Colorado. Now, had Florida come open, had Florida State come open, we're talking about a very different, or Auburn, a very different offseason. Deion Sanders is at least taking interviews with those schools. We know he took an interview, or at least reports have surfaced that he did with Jerry Jones, had a conversation. He's a businessman. He knows how to play the game. I just think that the right job wasn't open for him to seek one out in college football. Colorado benefits from that. And now maybe the only right job in the NFL will be the Dallas Cowboys, and it doesn't seem at the time of recording as if that's going to matriculate.
Things change quickly, and if they do, I know you'll cover it. Where can people follow you? Where can they get more of your content?
At LO Big 12 or at Drake C. Toll on Twitter and wherever you find your podcasts with Locked On Big 12.
Thanks, Drake.
Anytime.